podcast. Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers Podcast, the only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment. We are your hosts, Cameron and Kobe, and we are ready to bring survival goodness direct to your dirty little ear holes. Welcome, Cameron,
Welcome.
to episode 101.
This is 101.
Yeah, we've actually done more episodes than that, but this is 101 in our regular. The original, the meat and taters one. So what is it that we're doing today?
Well, we figured probably some new preppers coming along.
Well, we know there is.
Yeah.
If we look at our downloads, we know there's a lot of
or either people are super bored and just keep downloading our old stuff.
Yeah, that could have been it too.
But we figured with the 101 episode, perfect time. Let's just talk about the basics of prepping.
Yeah.
And then add in there some of the stuff we've been going over with this extra time with the quarantine.
Yeah. You're all in quarantine. You might as well do some prepper projects.
Yeah.
So Prepper 101 is sort of like getting back to the basics, and we're not going to really get in depth with a lot of this stuff, but more of like, hey, these are the things.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it definitely threw me into the okay, where am I with everything?
Yeah, no. It does it quickly, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, there's a pandemic? I guess I better figure out my preps.
It's time to get some stuff.
Cameron, did you know that most subscription boxes are full of samples and junk you'll never use? But not BattleBox. It's the monthly subscription box for men and women, full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of hand-picked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month. The Spyderco Persistence. Yeah, it's hard to beat when you get a Spyderco in a subscription box. Yeah. Seriously. And the Breadcrumb Bluetooth marker. You can mark your significant other and you'll always know where they are, right? All this badassness starts at about $30 a month. They've shipped almost 1 million boxes and won Best Men's Subscription Box of 2017. Our listeners get a free tactical knife when you sign up at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. That is trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. Don't forget it, kids. Get your first battle box plus a free tactical knife at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. Yeah, so you got to get it.
So Spyderco is from Colorado, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, are they like Japanese? Are they a samurai knife?
Is that what you thought?
Yeah.
They're
made. Some of them are made in China, which is no surprise.
We should just go over there one day and just say, hey guys, what's up?
Yeah. Seriously.
I know we should.
We have some amazing
reviews starts now.
Never mind.
I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, it is mine too.
Is it?
Freaking love it.
You want to do this? You want me to, buddy?
Go ahead.
Now I'm being really nice to you. I was like,
no,
buddy.
you go.
Oh, buddy. Okay.
You go.
5 stars. This came from iTunes. He says, these guys have brought something into this world that can only be compared to the works of art like the Sistine Chapel Ceiling by Michelangelo and Hey Jude by the Beatles. I've loved the podcast so much that I'm considering moving to Utah and searching for these guys so my dirty little ear holes never go too long without their juicy prepping tips and advice. I figure it won't be hard to find them. I'll just wander around until I find 2 fully grown men sucking out of some poor sucker's sprinkler system. Stay survived.
Some of the creepy adjectives that I've heard for our voices. Juicy, soothing, delicious. I'm like,
delicious.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gross.
Anyways, if you guys want to be a part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, go to the Kindle book on Amazon, leave us a 5-star review, and make it awesome.
It's a mad, mad world.
So,
there's nothing else going on in the world right now.
What else are we going to talk about? Seriously, we're just going to go over.
There's nothing.
The state of the pandemic. That's
crime. Everything has ceased.
Yeah. Pollution is we've basically saved the world.
I know.
by infecting the world.
That's why this happened. That's why it's
Mother Earth was mad at us.
Yep.
Apparently, we've all been sent to our rooms. So looking at the numbers,
dirty. Go to your room.
Go to your room. Ew. So let's look at the numbers. The total confirmed cases as of right now. So I looked at this earlier this morning, and it was 960,000 cases. I just refreshed it. It's 981,000 cases.
Whoa.
By the end of this podcast, we could hit 1 million people infected by the dirty, dirty coronavirus. So that's bad.
1 million people. Wow.
Yeah, so 50,000 people have died.
And that's just like the tested, confirmed.
That's just the tip.
all,
right there, Cameron.
all the secret COVID cases.
Yeah.
we don't know about yet.
So yeah, it's not good. It's not going to get any better in the next little while. It's going to continue
In the
to
next
get worse.
life.
In the next life,
what I thought
we'll
you
all
were
be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it carries through.
I think I saw that like 2/3 of the United States is basically staying at home.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's a bonkers number to think about. You know what I mean? We're still here though.
Apparently,
We're,
I'm seeing a third of the people just
Yeah.
still want.
we're going to work still, so don't worry about that. The podcast continues on.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop. But anyways, we just kind of thought we'd give you a quick little update as our mad world, because it is mad and we're in the middle of a pandemic and Cam and I are scared crapless.
I am scared.
Yeah.
I just had somebody this morning that, their complaint was allergies, and they come in, got a fever.
Yeah.
They've been in Lowe's, like they work at Lowe's, and all these people have been coming in, I guess, from Rock Springs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
and Wasatch Front down
You're like,
here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I pooped a little in my pants, and we screened them.
And now you're sitting like 2 feet away from me.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Who's going to use this mic later today?
Who's going to sit in that chair? That's the worst part of it.
That's probably
right.
I smell like poop, and then I developed a cough.
What's going on?
Scam in here.
Yeah, I'm guaranteed I was Cam. Guaranteed. All right, so episode 101, we're calling it Prepper 101.
101.
Yeah, so we decided that we wanted to do something kind of back to the basics. Like we said, there's been a lot of new listeners recently.
Yeah.
People are freaked out.
Yeah.
And apparently they thought, well, let's listen to these two idiots and see if they're freaked out.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the rationale is behind
don't
people
either. I'm
doing
like,
it, but
how can I get prepared for this now that it's happening?
no, I mean, I understand.
There's your born again preppers. That's what I call them.
The born again.
I was kind of into
Yeah.
it, but now I'm getting back.
Now
into
I'm
it.
really into it.
Now I really need to get things
Yeah.
ready.
And so there's a lot of people sitting at home right now that, all of our current audience, the ones that have been with us for a long time, they're all sitting at home going, what do I do? What are some things? So we thought that let's get back to the basics. Let's go over those basic things that everybody can be working on. And then these new preppers can look at this and go, oh, those are the basics.
Yeah.
These are the things I should work on.
Yep.
Right?
Because I've definitely been going over all these old things like, okay, where am I at with this? Where am I at with this?
For sure. It as soon as something happens like this, a pandemic, you go, oh,
Yeah.
I should be actually doing this, not just talking about it.
Yeah.
And again, we are casual, so that's
So it's like a
That's our
prepper
thing.
summary.
yeah, like that.
This is the end of the book.
I don't know what you had like that
We're going to read it on the...
attitude.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
prepper summary.
Just shut up. Let's talk about it now. Yeah, it is like a prepper summary, isn't it?
Yeah, so let's do this.
Do you want to just start at the beginning?
Let's start at the very beginning.
And where do we start?
Always.
Always.
What's going to keep you alive? Kobe's going to drink
Fruit
some
snacks.
right now and make the sound of consuming H2O. And that's not a medicine.
No, it's water.
So,
Just
the
spilled
first
all over
thing
myself.
about prepping is your food and your water.
Yeah.
That's the first. And that always falls back to like whatever scenario, you got to have these two things. You got to
You
have
do.
them.
I mean, you also have to have shelter, but we hope that at this point you've got a place to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Right?
So, water's like the tippy top of all prepper plans. And it's
Tippy top.
It's the hardest because it takes up so much freaking space.
Yes.
And you have to be, rotating it out.
It's all wet.
And it's like gross.
Yo.
So rule of thumb, 1 gallon per person per day.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest
it's the
thing
bare
to think
minimum.
about. Yeah.
And
And some people say that's a lot. Some say, it just that includes consumption, playing, water balloons,
yeah. Sprinklers,
shower sex for some preppers.
shower sex, all those things.
So rule of thumb, 1 gallon per person per
Cleaning
day.
out your pants after you poop them.
I don't clean it. I let it dry up. So it
Gross.
that like gets to be a lot when you calculate all your family members and it's like holy crap.
How
How
many
do I
people-
store all this freaking water?
Calculate your family members. 1,
I got
2,
numbered.
3, 4,
Times that by 1. This is ridiculous.
5 times 1. What is it?
How many gallons? Come on, you can do this.
Get out the Texas Instruments. Let's figure it out.
Doesn't make sense. I've done the calculation for you.
Carry the 1. Everybody's dead. That's what I'm getting.
So anyway, rule of thumb, 1
Yeah.
gallon per person per day. And that was one thing that kind of freaked me out at first. It's like people got all crazy and buying like tons and tons of water. It's like, well,
Yeah.
we still have a water supply.
We do,
We
yeah.
shouldn't have the virus breaking water lines and shutting down.
You
But you still get a little
it's
worried.
a novel virus. We don't know what it's going to do.
People are crazy. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is a good time to add some water while it's available. I bought
Sure.
a few 5 billion gallons.
Yeah.
I bought like another thing of water bottles, and then I added a 55-gallon drum. So I've got roughly, I don't know,
Enough.
give or take 150 gallons.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first thing you really need to think about. And there's a lot that goes into that. It's like, I got filters, but what if they poison your water supply?
Yeah, I know.
Everybody
Yep.
goes into that. But just focus on having water stored that's ready to use right now. But then for replenishable, you got to think about, do I have a river? Do I have filters? What if this water doesn't get we don't rotate it out. You can boil it or use your filter. So
Yeah. And
anyways,
if you store it correctly, you shouldn't really need to.
No.
But you get a little weird about it sometimes,
And there's all these rules about this or that. I mean, I use old juice bottles, wash them out. Yes, it's not the best way to store.
Yeah.
But it's a container.
It
I have
is.
tap water that has chlorine in it, so I fill them up.
Sure. It's better than nothing. But again, just start with the basics. I think,
Yeah.
FEMA suggests like 2 week supply. So just start there.
Yeah.
Get the easy stuff.
Yeah, don't be planning for 6 months water supply because that's impossible.
Yeah, if you're the new prepper, just start with those basic things. 2 week supply, I've got it. And if you're an old prepper and you don't have a 2 week supply, well, what the hell you been doing? Go get 2 weeks of water.
Right.
Have you listened to us at all?
Yeah, serious. It comes up at the end of every single podcast.
Yes.
And then the next thing's food. Food's a little easier because you can go without it a little longer, but you want the easiest thing is to have food that's going to last longer, so you don't have to constantly be worrying about it and recycling it. Recycle food, rotating it.
Yeah.
Like survival boxes is an excellent way to get started because you just subscribe and you get food delivered to your doorstep.
I hope they're still actually doing boxes right now. I know they're in a weird
Are they really?
transition period,
Oh, okay.
so
we don't know for sure.
double check that.
But
they
anyways,
are still
there
doing it.
are subscription box out there that throw some food in there.
Yeah.
And you can get really good deals on like Wise Foods, Patriot Supply, and these are like 25-year shelf life, 5-year shelf life. You get MREs and things like that.
Right now is probably not the best time because I know they've been like
and
bought out.
That's a good thing to mention because these things are better used in these areas. Like if you haven't gotten to that point, then you probably look at the more
we'll talk about
available supplies.
Yep.
But you also need to look at like ways to cook and prep on your own. So get some of those supplies that help that. Salt, pepper, like yeast is hard to get right now.
It is, yeah.
Yeast infections probably the same.
Yeah, tough to get.
But sugar, things like that you can just, you've got all these stored bags of flour. Good luck if you don't have all the other supplies to make things with it. One of the things that kind of freaked me out, well, not freaked me out, but I was like worried is some of the morale foods and some of the things that are perishable that have gone like off the shelves immediately.
Yeah.
Like milk and butter, things like that were really hard for
They
a
were
while.
hard to find, yeah.
People just panicked and bought all this crap, and I'm sure they've like ruined half of it. But thinking ahead of getting those things that are storing longer, but also looking ahead of like rotating like canned foods and things like that that don't last quite as long, but you can use them as they are.
Yeah.
We've talked more on this about things that you like and things that your kids will like because like stored foods don't always taste the best.
Yeah, that long shelf life stuff right now, if you're a new prepper and we're kind of in the middle of this right now, I honestly probably wouldn't worry about it. I would go directly to working on your pantry and your frozen foods and just build that up so you could easily have a month of food just with your pantry, in your frozen food. So that's where I would be doing my prepping on food wise is right there. And that's what I have been.
So like for us,
doing.
we have like, we focused because we've been doing it for a while on those, but I don't want to touch any of those long stored items. So I shifted to like rotating and getting those things like Kobe was just mentioning. And that's probably the best thing, for beginning prepper. Canned foods are hard to get right now.
They are, yeah, they're tough.
But those are excellent for like the now. Like, look at those lot sales.
But they're also still good for several years. So
exactly.
So yeah, it's a semi long term, but also you can eat them now and then just rotate through them, and it's stuff you eat all the time.
Exactly.
It should be anyways.
Yeah.
Like there's people that are just freaking out and they're just buying whatever the hell's on the shelf.
Yeah, they don't have any plan behind it.
You're not going to eat the pig's feet.
So much is going to get wasted.
Why'd you buy 10 cans of pig's feet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to eat it. Buy stuff that you're actually going to eat and rotate through.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, frozen was one of those key things that we mentioned last podcast of getting now, because, there's a lot of frozen stuff still available. And just put it in the freezer.
For sure.
The other thing was like the, what was I going with that?
I don't know. It's probably interesting.
Other basic items outside of, it was really important, but sorry, you're not going to get that information today. Like other little things that we kind of were like, okay, we need to, I was going on I was going to talk about like I wish I would have hit some of the lot sales.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I had canned tuna and it's kind of expired, and then canned like olives and the pastas all went really fast too.
Yeah, they did.
So
Pasta went quick. Yeah,
some of those like real instant, foods and stuff like that. Those are good things to kind of work on as your first preps, and then go to the longer storage. Other things that went really fast. Everybody knows the toilet paper and stuff just like wiped out.
Yeah,
the wipes and sanitary wipes, Clorox wipes, things like that. That we've talked about sanitation as being a huge part of your prepper plan, because you're going to be cooped up like this or whatever disaster it is. You're going to be around dirty human beings and human bodies. So toilet paper is super important. Having deodorants and soaps, things like that.
Toothpaste, feminine products.
Yeah.
Those are all the things that all of a sudden you're like, crap, what if I can't get to the store and get those?
Yep.
So that was something that I was like, oh, shiz, dude.
Kobe was big on the sanitation stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I had toilet paper, but the other stuff I was
toilet paper in my butt.
Yeah, exactly. But those other things, I was like, crap. So I went and bought some, more toothpaste and some more deodorant.
That's what I meant.
I was like, what? And so,
toilet
anyways,
paper out my butt.
Out my butt. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So just think about those things. And again, right now, sometimes that's hard to do in the middle of a pandemic like this, especially a lot of people are out of work. So it's going to be tough. But moving forward, once we move past this thing, think about that, having extra on hand of those, because when something like this goes down, you don't want to have to go to the store like a crazy person, right?
Yeah.
So the more you can have of that stuff, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. It wasn't something I expected to be like first cleaned off the shelves.
Yeah, me either.
Like toilet paper and wipes and sanitary stuff, but
it makes sense with what we're going through with the pandemic.
So this is a different scenario, but at the same time, it's like not many people obviously have a good supply of those things. And another thing that's really been obvious in our town is people that haven't been financially prepared. Yeah. And we mentioned how important this is as a prepper, is you can't just spend all this money on your prepping supplies if you're not financially stable. Getting financially prepared, having available cash, and not being in a ton of debt, because no matter what's going on, they may give you this little leeway.
But it's all coming back at you.
It's all coming back, and then you may not even have a job at the end of 3 months or 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is. So being financial prepared is a huge recommendation that we have for your prepping plan.
I think after the water and the food, it's probably one of the next most important things, because if you get into a situation like this, you can't run to the store. And like, it's not that big of a deal for me to go spend $200 just because I'm afraid we're not going to go out again, right? But for some people, it's almost impossible. You just got to get to the point where you have that emergency cash in the bank or on hand or whatever it might be, so that you get into this situation and you're doing a lot better than a lot of people. So,
and this pandemic's been, we've had technology, we've still had our utilities and everything, but how rare is it to have an earthquake in the middle of a pandemic?
Good
like
gracious.
This happened in Salt Lake, and it's happening still. Like Boise, just outside of Boise, had a. Just think of that. You're down, you're low on supplies, and you're like going to the grocery store to get what little you have, and all of a sudden you lose the ability to use your credit card, and then you lose the ability. You don't have any cash on hand, so it's like that has to all be considered, no matter because you can have stacked SHTF scenarios.
Yeah, I can't believe it actually happened to us.
I can't either.
So there was a run on fuel because of this.
That's true.
There was a, I think we've already talked about this, but yeah, there was an earthquake in Salt Lake.
But
a refinery went down for a little bit, and clear out here 3 hours away, we had this run on fuel, and people were freaking out.
It was a social media
frenzy.
People just saw it, and they're like, "Oh no!" And they just all ran to the gas station. They don't even know why.
They just
filling
thought
up
they had
the
to.
truck bed.
Yeah, but again, if you're already ready, if you already have some extra fuel, you're not going to worry about it. If you're keeping your truck over or your car over that half tank, you're not so worried about it, right? So think about those things. And like we said, the cash on hand, there was even a little bit of a run on the banks here.
Yeah, there was.
Locally.
People like pulling a bunch out.
They were pulling out so much that they actually limited the amount that you could start pulling out.
Right.
And so, again, think about that. Make sure you have some cash on hand because, like Cam said, you stack SHTF scenarios. Boy,
it's crazy.
That's a roller coaster you don't want to ride, buddy. You know what I mean?
Don't go there.
Don't go there. Yeah.
But yeah, so those are some of the, like, probably the first items preppers should work on if you're getting into it now is look at, the food, the water, your financial situation, and just your basic living supplies like sanitary things. So
I completely agree. The next area I want to look at is personal information and documents. So yeah, it's super important to have these documents and these papers backed up, stored correctly, accessible when you need them. And I think right now a lot of people are sitting at home. Why not do a project like this? This is something I've got on my list. I've done a little bit of it, but I really need to get in and do more of it. So let's talk about some of those documents that you should be getting together and storing correctly. So obviously, all forms of ID, you should have a copy of your driver's license, Social Security cards, not even a copy. Those should be stored somewhere safe, right?
Exactly.
Passports, birth certificates, all types of insurance policies, home, auto, flood, life, health insurance, deeds to properties that you own. Having copies of household bills that prove that you live in a certain area is another good thing to have, because depending on some sort of aid and things that are coming in the area, and maybe it's only for these people that live here, you're going to want those. All sorts of banking and tax documents, obviously, wills, photos of belongings, like from around your house for insurance purposes. Those are really nice to have. One of the lists said church documents. So, if you got that, keep that together. And medical records and information.
Yeah.
All these are super
donation
important.
Of church. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. That's what it is.
That what it is.
That what it is. So how do you store these things? What's the best route? So the best is obviously a fireproof, waterproof, lockable safe or container somewhere that's safe, right? Because if you have a house fire, if you have a flood, if you have
earthquake,
a
pancquake,
or somebody breaks into your house, they can't get it, right? And the fire can't get it, the water can't get it. So that'll keep it safe. There's also things like document bags that you can keep these things in. I think we got one from BattleBox.
We did, and it makes your hand itch like a mother.
It's made of like fiberglass or something like that.
I put a few papers in there, and then all day I'm like, hand.
So there's another thing you can think about doing is after you get those stored in a safe place, make a photocopy of all these and put them in like a Go binder, so that if you have to bug out or if you have to go somewhere quickly, you can just grab that binder and you have copies of everything.
Exactly.
It's such a
I think
good
a backup
idea.
copy that way, and then there's some really good apps that can encrypt it all.
Yep.
So it's like your pictures are available to you. And I have it both ways.
Yeah, for sure. And then also, he said a digital copy secured in the cloud. Do you have any apps that you know of that are good for that?
I like
think of off the top of your head.
I use NPass. Well, NPass is more of a password, but I use it's like Tiny Copier or whatever.
Okay.
Anyway,
Tiny Scanner maybe.
Tiny Scanner. Yeah, that one. It does encrypt them, and it's saved my butt a couple of times.
With
I've lost my wallet, and I'm like, oh freak! And I hurried and went, and I pulled up all those numbers, and I called them and canceled them, and I only lost like, $20 instead of hundreds.
Yeah, no, that's such a good idea. And then also get a digital copy and put it on a flash drive, and then have it in like a bug out bag or somewhere in a vehicle, somewhere different, so you have all of them again in another spot say the cloud is down, you can go ahead and throw that into a laptop or something. You've got it ready to go.
Yeah,
so,
Tiny Scanner is the one I use.
Okay. Yeah, and so I think it's just it's an awesome way to start prepping. It's an awesome project for preppers right now when you're just kind of hanging out at home. Why not just go grab all that stuff, start making some copies?
Yeah.
Maybe you can.
I used where we had the internet company here let us bump our speeds all the way up. I ended up just downloading all of my family photos from online and stored them on a hard drive, which I keep in a fireproof safe.
That's such a good idea.
Because it's like
seriously
benefit, or you got the time to do it now, and some of the perks.
Exactly. So that's one of them. Personal documents and information.
Great one.
Yeah.
So I put in here power because a lot of times you don't know. Like we were saying, you get these stacked scenarios where you get a pandemic and earthquake combined, or earthquake a cane, earthquake and a tornado or hurricane.
Quake-nado.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And you lose power. So always we talk about like sustainable or energy. A couple of ways you can do that. Fuel generators. Kobe and I have talked about it. My dad bought one on sale. It's just a regular gas one, but it's still a generator.
Yeah.
I've always wanted one that's a dual fuel that you could, even the best scenario would be to hook up your gas line, because most of the time those aren't going to get interrupted.
Yeah,
and you can just use gas that already comes to your house and just plug in your generator, so you have power. And that brings me to the point of storing some fuel as well, both for your vehicle and for generator.
Yeah, and then fuel goes with gasoline, but also even propane. So you can go ahead and
people went crazy with propane.
They did.
I saw some guy got like a trailer of like 16 cans. I'm like, dude,
but
I don't know why Ace didn't like shut him down.
You could go ahead and you can cook for a really long time,
forever
with
you can heat
that much
indoors.
Propane. Yep,
like there's a lot of uses.
There's a lot of different uses. So that's
fuels.
one thing to think about.
Protein
is the
does
best.
all kinds of amazing things.
Yep.
Also, there's solar generators or battery backup. I use a Rock Pals. It's like a 300 watt, and it has all kinds of different ports. It has USB, so you can charge devices to keep your kids occupied.
Yeah.
Do their school work. Well, if the power's off, probably not gonna do that.
But you could.
And then they come with like solar panels, some of them, so you can. The sun's still there.
Yeah.
It hasn't blown up.
Not yet.
Yeah. And then BioLite offers some extremely like low power lighting.
Yeah.
I have my sheds all wired with a BioLite home kit.
Yep.
What is it? The BioLite
the Solar Home 620, I think is what it's called.
I love that thing.
It's one of my favorite kits that I have. I just have it sitting in my basement ready to go in case the lights go up.
Yeah.
Basically, it has a solar panel that you can run outside and a cable that comes in, and then it has a string of lights that you can string them out throughout the house. And there's switches and there's motion.
There's a motion sensor on one of them.
Freaking awesome. The 620 does the
Tons
Solar Home
of corded, you can stretch it through probably an entire basement.
They're
with
fantastic.
The cord, or the wiring that comes with it. So I use that.
Stick around. Pretty soon we may actually have a code for them.
That's right.
Very soon.
BioLite has awesome stuff. You should check them out.
Definitely should.
But they have cooking options that can.
They do, yeah.
They can charge while you're cooking, which is pretty awesome.
The camp stove too is awesome.
Yeah, that thing is way sweet. Both, it's like way efficient for heat because it's got a little fan and it's charging a battery pack.
Use it outside. Okay.
Crazy stuff. And then there's Water Lily makes a solar or a water turbine that charges a battery, so you can use that battery power to charge your devices, communication devices, whatever. And then we talked about having like a blackout kit, one that's like near your bed or something like that has those supplies. If your power goes out in the middle of the night and you're searching for all this crap, it sucks. I've done it a million times. But I have a light near my bed, and I don't have any candles. Probably should in the bedroom, especially.
Should, yeah.
And but yeah, these are all these little supplies that you have in a kit for blackouts.
We actually did an episode.
Kids may know where they're at too.
We did an episode on prepping for power outages, I think.
Yeah, we did.
So that one has a lot.
About the blackout
talks
kit.
a lot about that. We'll do another one soon.
And no matter what, if you have kids, all of your flashlights will be dead.
Yeah, I give them. They each have their own, and they don't get to touch the other ones.
Really?
That's
Mine
just
find them. I don't even know how
it goes.
So yeah, there you go. That's a quick thing on power. Personal safety and defense. This could go nuts here. People
definitely could.
Put this as number one sometimes. A lot of the time
they do, and it shows.
Yeah,
it shows
because. I don't know if you've paid attention, depending on what state you're in, probably. But firearm sales have gone crazy. People like online, it's hard to get a good handgun, and ammo has been cleaned out because apparently people can survive on ammo.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not important. It is. Like, we live in an amazing country that allows us to have firearms, and I think we need to keep it that way.
I mean, you and I both prepped our ammo and guns.
Yeah.
We patted those these past few weeks.
We did. Because I knew there was a big run on, and the terrifying thing about it to me is I've always wanted it. I have these things for hunting and things to do, like clay pigeon shooting, but at the same time, the defense has to come into mind of protecting myself and my family.
Yeah.
I never want to use it on another person, but when I see all these people that have never put any thought ahead of time into buying and owning a firearm, all of a sudden going and buying a firearm, that is freaking terrifying.
It is, yeah.
It's like, what are they going to do with it? What are they thinking about doing with it? So, I have a shotgun, 22 rifle, and I just recently bought a pistol, which I had a plan to do before this pandemic.
You've been talking about it for a long time.
I have, and I finally was just like, okay, I'm going to do it now because I feel like any of the good ones are going to get bought up. But yeah, I think it's important to have these. There is the chance that you could use it to hunt. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be hunting. So we've talked about that before.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not going to survive off the land like you think you might. But it did put me into a scenario. This scenario put me into the mindset of like, okay, where am I at with those things? And we went and kind of patted them and made sure we knew how to use them.
For sure.
You got to be comfortable with those things. The other thing is like home security. So one big annoying thing that I've found lately is the home security cameras, like Nest, for example, a huge brand, does not have any backup.
Really?
Like if you lose your power, your local network does not cut it. And a lot of people have been kind of talking more about that a lot of these devices will go offline, and that sucks. So there are some different ways you could keep a local system. We've talked about keeping a home security, using while the power's on and stuff like that. There's cameras that you can set up around your house so you can watch outside, not having to go outside. Things to keep your doors and windows safe. Not extreme of putting up a whole board and panel like door jams and things like that.
For sure, yeah. They have those kits that you can get online or at Lowe's that are additional that make it harder to break through your door. Yeah. Those things are pretty cool. It's like $80 for the kit.
And they're not like, they don't look like you're making a freaking bunker or a safe. And there's other things we've talked about with home security. If you have a drone, there's ways that you can kind of send it up and just kind of scan the area, see what's going on, see if there's roadblocks down the way, see if your neighbor's tanning out back, whatever you want to do with it.
For sure, yeah.
But there's a lot of uses with that in home security. Peepholes, smoke detector, and CO2 alarms. I just bought a new CO2 detector for there's some places in your house that just you're not getting like a good
coverage. Yeah.
But the other thing is I have a portable one that can take down and I can take it in the camper. So I've always freaked out about that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But home security is like a whole nother thing of we're not saying you need to build a turret on top of your house, but you need to figure out how to keep your family safe within the house and be able to kind of keep an eye on the outside.
Well, especially right now, we're in our houses so much.
Yeah.
And there's so much weirdness going on outside.
And there's people without jobs.
Yeah.
New firearms in their hand.
Exactly. I actually did a few things. I got a lock like on my back gate to my house.
Oh, nice.
I hadn't had a lock on there yet. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. So I got one back there. Huh?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I knew that.
I go through it all the time.
Yeah. But just little things like that, and I've been trying to upgrade my home security system, getting additional features and things like that might help. So, it's a good time to be with all this downtime and everybody at home so freaking much. My kids are home 24 hours a day. Yeah, so it's more. It seems like something that's more important right now, so it's a good thing to be working on.
Yeah. And there's ways to kind of deter, you get your timers and things like that. And I'm not a huge fan of Bluetooth technology. I feel like it's the flimsiest, crappiest thing. But Bluetooth lights and things like that I have, and Bluetooth cameras are nice. Old devices can be used as security cameras and things like that. We've talked a lot about cybersecurity and how important it is nowadays, because like there's constant attack. And I think that's one of the big things that could put our country in a really bad situation.
Or can you imagine right now, again, a stacked scenario?
I've worried about it. It's like a perfect time for, a cyber attack. And that could take out the grid. It can knock out, payment systems. It can eliminate a lot of things. And so cybersecurity is something you just need to have more knowledge about and how to protect you and your family on it. Why don't we talk about a new sponsor, Kobe?
I'm so excited about this.
I am too. Did you know that hackers attack every 39 seconds?
I actually did know that, and that's why I'm so scared about the whole thing.
It's terrifying.
It's scary. Yeah.
So Surfshark VPN, they can protect you.
Yeah.
And their app is like super clean. So if any of you want to know, VPN kind of just turns you into a gray man or puts you invisible online. So you can use your phone, use Surfshark's app, and whatever you're connected to, LTE or wireless, public or private, it basically just cloaks your device.
Yeah.
So you can go online. You don't have to worry about the ads, the phishing scams, the ads that pop up and you click on accident and now you've got that ad showing it won't let that happen.
Yeah.
So VPN protects you in that way. Also, their service allows them to monitor your email and your password.
That's cool.
It gets stolen all the time.
The email thing is cool because you can actually go put your email in, and then it shows you what breaches your email has been.
It's insane.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and so and they have this HackLock ID protection that they will tell you when your password or email has been compromised, and that's from any site that you use. It's not just your email. They also enable you to stream content because you can make your phone appear as though it's in Europe or France because it's using these servers across the world. So you're able to access the Netflix in the UK or in France and things like that. So that not just protection, it also gives you access while you're quarantined to all these cool different streaming software. One subscription from Surfshark will work on all of your devices.
That blew me away.
So you don't have to buy an app for your phone and buy an app for your TV and it's cross-platform. It's OS, Apple OS. It's Android. It works on your Roku. It's amazing. And this is all one price. Unlimited access, 24/7 support, risk-free 30 days. Try it.
I thought this was going to be so freaking expensive.
Me
when
too.
I looked at all the features, when we were considering them as a sponsor, I was like, this is going to be
most of them are
out of reach.
Kind of expensive.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But Surfshark, no. So if you use our promo code Casual Preppers, 84% off and 1 extra month for free.
Yeah, and you have to go to surfshark.deals/casual preppers. Make sure to go to that site, surfshark.deals.
So what does that make it a month?
Preppers.
$1.91 a month.
$1.90. That's like
so
ridiculous.
You can cloak yourself on any device that you own, and it costs you $1.91.
That is so.
Do it now. Seriously.
84%
That's
off.
surfshark.deals/casual preppers.
Oh my gosh, go get it. Use our code Casual Preppers. Cam's been loving it so far.
It has. I've used a couple just with trials and everything, but their app is super clean. The other thing I really like about it is if you can have I can't remember the name of it, but basically if you lose the internet connection or your VPN fails, you'll shut off. You won't be able to access the internet. So you're like, oh,
I'm not on
sometimes
my VPN
when your
anymore.
VPN drops and you're still on the internet, you don't know. You think you're protected, but you're not. They have a fail safe on their app.
I'm so excited.
It's by far the best VPN deal you can get.
Yeah,
So
make sure to go to surfshark.deals/casual preppers. Enter promo code Casual Preppers. 84% off. Holy fudge!
Yeah.
We'll make sure to put that link in
it is
the
dirt
show
cheap,
notes.
and it's going on right now.
Yep, for
and
sure.
cybersecurity is always a threat.
It absolutely is. So let's talk about vehicles, Cam. While we're all sitting at home, we have some time to work on our vehicles, right?
We definitely do.
And so, what should we be looking at? What should we be doing vehicle wise?
So vehicles, there's some hardcore people on these that know a ton more than I do.
For sure, yeah.
And
No
I'm
doubt.
not building a tank or anything like that.
No.
So I think the first thing is, don't worry about getting a bug out vehicle. What you drive now can be your bug out vehicle.
For sure. Yeah.
I have a Honda Pilot, and that's probably going to be my bug out vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a truck I'm working on, a 1977 F-150 that I kind of want to be more my off-road, but it depends a lot on like your bug out location. So
Sure.
I kind of, that we'll talk about in a minute, but where you're going to go. Like if you are going to leave your house, where is your vehicle going to get you, and what do you need in that vehicle? Some of the things about bug out vehicles is having your vehicle kit. That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
So in there, it's like a little mini, well, we haven't talked about bug out bags, but a vehicle kit is one that has things that apply to your vehicle and if you have to live or stay in your vehicle for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
So I have in my kit some water,
Mm-hmm.
some filters. I got food, mostly like small packs, like the Mountain House is a good thing. And then I have MREs. Flares, fire starter, some tools to work on the truck, and some parts that are most likely to give me issues. And then, just your basic vehicle maintenance stuff, like, ways to pump your tire. Like I have a battery powered pump, which is kind of nice. And then having, patch kits for flat tires, things like that. So basically your vehicle kit is to help you stay survived and help your vehicle stay survived for a period that who knows how long you have to travel. So the more extreme bug out vehicles are ones that maybe I'm planning on going up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
These would be a little bit more extensive, and we haven't really gone into all the details of like that kind of thing. 4-wheel drive and gas versus diesel, but those are things to consider. I think the best thing for beginning preppers now is like, look at the vehicle you drive now, make sure the maintenance is done on it.
Yeah, that's the big thing, because it's not just for an SHTF situation. You drive that sucker every day, probably. So you got to make sure that it's running properly, and
that you do a 60-mile commute.
Yeah, you got to have stuff in your vehicle, man.
You're in a survival situation if that breaks down.
No
matter how you look at it.
Every day is a survival situation.
Or if you get stuck in a city,
and
you get you don't go into your work, you're basically going to be living in that car.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure the maintenance is up on it. Make sure the tires are good on it. Make sure you have more than half a tank full at all times.
Right
That's
now,
a huge thing.
I don't even go under 3/4.
I know.
Of a
I'm
tank.
about a quarter. I'm like, okay, I need to get some more. And then have that kit in there for fixing parts on your vehicle, maybe some replacement things, and then having food, clothes, fire starter kit, things that can keep you or whoever's with you kind of survived and get you a little bit further. I also have like wool blankets in there. One to crawl under my car when I need to and not get dirty. And, we live in a colder climate. Most of the time, it seems like forever.
April 2nd snowed like crazy today.
Yeah, we got like 2 inches out there.
Yep.
But so that's kind of the basics of a bug out vehicle is like use yours now. Yeah, you can look into the other stuff, the more fancier, hardcore Jeep or whatever you're looking at, but use your bug out vehicle now and get it prepared. So.
And again, if you're a prepper that's been doing this for a long time, it's a great time. All this downtime, go in and make sure your kits are, A+ perfect.
Yeah.
Make sure your maintenance is done.
You went through yours, just last year?
Well, I just went through mine a couple of weeks ago because I got a new truck.
Oh, right.
I got a new truck, so I switched everything out and made sure it was all good. So,
and I had a video posted where most of these vehicles have like these cubbies you don't know about.
Oh yeah,
'cause you're always worried about storing all this stuff in there and taking up all the space, but they're like 90% plastic.
Yeah,
and you pop little doors off, and I've stuffed food and filters and all kinds of crap in those spots.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, I actually did. I got rid of my Jeep Cherokee, and I now have a Dodge truck,
nice truck.
a 1500. Anyways,
the
Warlock. But yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to get everything I had in my Jeep into the truck, but I've worked it out, and it's been great so far. So it's a great time to start looking at that stuff.
It is a great time.
Yeah.
And I mentioned briefly, bug out location is another thing that preppers talk about, and that's kind of part of your bug out plan of like, if I need to leave, where am I going to go? You don't want to just jump in your vehicle and like, I'm going to get out of town. I don't know where I'm going.
Just driving.
Like you got to have that plan of I'm going to go here. And that makes a difference in what your vehicle can do. Like you want a truck if you're going to go up into the mountains. But that bug out location, you want to be private. You want to have access to, water, things that you can use while you're there. You don't want to have a bug out location in the middle of the desert, no water in sight.
Not a good idea.
And not have anything stored there.
Yeah.
And place to keep you safe for a certain amount of time that you can still, grow food or have food there and be safe away from the public. And, that's a whole nother thing. But
For sure.
it does shape your plan with your bug out bag, your bug out vehicle,
Absolutely.
and all that. So.
And we'll talk about bug out bags as well. But again, when it comes back down to it, that's plan B or C.
We never say that's
bugging
the
in
top.
should be the route you take like 99% of the time. The bug out.
That's your safe point.
Bugging out is super sexy for a lot of people, but it's just not
it sounds
practical.
amazing, but
not practical.
no.
So another thing you could start thinking about, and another part of a prepping plan is raising some sort of livestock. And right now it's a great thing. There's been people all over Facebook around here looking for chickens, looking for rabbits. It's nuts, but it's a great way. Especially in this downtime, like if you can get some chicks or something, start freaking doing it. It's a great time. So we'll talk about basically.
Easter usually is a good time.
Yeah, it is.
Like they got the baby chicks. And
they
stuff.
do, yeah.
I don't know what they're doing right now, but
so there's a few considerations when you're starting.
I'm raising children.
I know.
My livestock.
Raising them for meat.
Yep. I feed them sweets and all kinds.
That's
of
a good
tasty-
idea. They exclusively live on fruit snacks.
Yeah.
So some things to think about when you're choosing an animal or you're thinking about doing this. Think about your location. What is your temperature? What do your threats look like? What does the shelter look like that you might have? How much space do you have? Do you have enough space for a bunch of rabbits or chickens, or you just got to go with the hamsters? We don't know. What is the feed requirements? What do you want? Do you want meat? Do you want eggs? What are you thinking about? Because you can go a lot of different ways. What does your city allow? So right now I have 4 chickens, and
which is more than enough, right?
let me tell you what, those things have been worth their weight in gold. Like it feels so good to know that I can walk into my backyard and I can get breakfast for my whole family every single day. Like no matter what.
have some extra.
And have some extra. I've got so many eggs right now. I don't know what
Yeah,
to
I think
do
that's
with them.
one thing that people do is they buy way too many of, I
Sure.
need like 10 chickens.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a fortune.
Unless you're going to sell them or barter.
You'll make a fortune on your eggs.
Yeah, I mean, you can barter. I mean, again, it's a great barter item.
But
like,
yeah.
I could go take those eggs right now and get some yeast or something maybe. You know what I mean? So chickens are great. They're super inexpensive. They're easy.
You can hide them.
You can hide. Yeah.
That's coming up.
Yeah, sure.
People are probably going to be seeking.
I thought you meant hide the chickens. I'm like, where am I going to hide them?
Come on, get in there.
Get on in there.
See if anybody can find
Little
them.
Mishy, get in there. But they're super inexpensive and they're pretty cheap to feed. And you can let them out in the yard and they'll eat all day long.
Bugs
Eat all the
and all
bugs
kinds
and
of
the spiders, the icky wickies out there. So you can do that. They don't take much room to raise them. They're pretty easy to butcher. I haven't done it yet, but if I have to, I will. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they provide both meat and eggs, and you can do it in the city or in the country. They don't care.
Reproducible food that's a food.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful thing. Those little breakfast bundles every single morning. I love them. I love my chickens. But from what I've heard, ducks are even better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't have any firsthand
They'd
knowledge.
be fun.
So apparently they're better resistant to cold. They make less noise than chickens. Chickens, once in a while, they'll get kind of noisy. Their eggs are larger and they actually have more nutrients. It's just like Nacho Libre in the, eating need the nutrients. They actually lay eggs year round. So chickens, if you don't have a heater and stuff, they'll stop laying in the winters. And so
duck crap is pretty gross, though.
Apparently it is.
I think it's way worse.
Yeah. The last one you could look at that's very popular is rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been very close to pulling the trigger on this, and I just haven't done it yet. They're great for meat.
I've thought about bunnies.
They don't lay eggs, so don't think you're getting eggs from a rabbit.
There's no chocolate Cadbury eggs coming from them.
But they do have meat, and they taste fantastic. I don't know if you've ever had rabbit, but it's pretty dang good.
They have lucky feet.
Mm-hmm,
Just cut them off.
Yep, they're the most efficient livestock for converting feed into muscle mass.
Oh, really?
The most efficient.
Interesting.
Which means it takes less time to feed and raise them and butcher than even a chicken is. And rabbits, they freaking raise themselves. You don't need an incubator. You just let them go. They'll do their thing. Their meat is super low in fat and it's high in protein. The rabbit poop is great for your garden. It's super high in nitrogen. So it's great for your garden. And actually the dried rabbit poop, dogs love them. It's like doggy treats. So that's something.
That's funny.
Yeah, and they have tons of vitamins in them, so they're actually really good for them.
Cool.
So anyways, think about that.
It's like a Centrum.
Centrum
vitamin.
Centrum rabbit. So those are some.
And they're comforting.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
Like ducks
soft.
and chicken aren't really easy to pick up and pet. They're funny to watch, aren't they?
Ours are pretty good, actually. You can.
I heard they have little personalities. They're pretty
They
funny.
do. Yeah, they're fun to watch. They come up on our porch all the time to look in the window. My dog just goes nuts. He doesn't like it. But so those are some things to think about. If you know, it's another part of a prepping plan. It's a good project to start right now if you can. So think about it.
Beef cows and stuff would be very hard.
Yeah, it's tough
in most scenarios.
Yeah,
unless you live on a farm.
Yep.
And we've been meaning to get into this a little bit more because I hurt my finger.
Careful, buddy.
Hit the back of your computer. Gardening.
Yeah.
So every year I try to be better at this, and I don't feel like I'm getting any better at this.
No.
Tried raised flower beds, and I've tried all kinds of stuff. We just don't have great soil. It's like sand.
Yeah, it is.
And it's
rocky sand.
Yeah. Lacking in nutrients, but it's good. Like I feel like
you need
I'm learning.
Rabbits.
That's true.
You need rabbits. I really think you should start raising rabbits.
That's actually a good idea. Like I think it would work good in my yard, like over in that.
And then
corner.
I'll trade you a rabbit for a bunch of eggs.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I might have to talk Tony into
do it. Do it.
But yeah, like working on your garden, trying to grow things indoors before you know, once you're getting out of the winter freeze and everything. It's a ton of work, but it teaches you a lot of what's going to grow well in your area, what seeds you need to have on hand. Another good thing is some of the subscription box would give you the heirloom seeds, or you can buy it like a big canister of heirloom seeds. Yeah, meaning you're going to get seeds from those plants and reuse them every year.
Replant every year with them.
So you want to focus on learning how to do those things. You can grow a ton indoors. Yeah, and so there's also aeroponics, hydroponics, growing just in water.
Hooked on phonics.
Yeah, hooked on phonics. So we plan on doing an episode specifically on gardening, but it's a skill that like you really need to focus on, like the livestock, getting your vegetables and fruits and things like that.
What the hell else you got to do right now?
You got nothing else to do.
Do it.
The grocery store is contaminated as usual.
Yep.
Another important thing for preppers is communications.
It's hugely important.
With your spouse, how are you going to keep that marriage going?
You got to keep an open line of communication.
Right. And
always fight naked. That's what I've been taught.
That's a good idea.
So I just start a fight when she's in the shower.
Okay, I'm over it.
All right, never mind. Put your clothes back on.
That's what you're gross. So communications, we had an episode on this as well, but like having the ability to communicate like short and long distance, Kobe and I have kind of set up where we'll just get on a channel if anything goes down and we can't call on our cell phones. Because number one, you're going to have a cell phone on you. Yeah. And it's probably the most likely to be your communication device. But in any event, it's going to, the lines are going to get clogged. You're going to have trouble connecting. Yeah. Messages aren't going to go through. Yeah. So then you've got to rely on some other source of communication. And that comes down to probably the most, probably the most intense one, like the most educational. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
I don't know.
Probably the one that takes the most time. Yes. To get into and is going to be probably the most useful is a ham radio. Yep. So you have to have a license to operate. You do. You have to study, take a test, and there's 3 different levels. Don't put it off like I have forever.
I actually got the app on my phone.
I do too.
I got it.
I've been going through test questions. Yeah. I feel like it might help me get ahead when I finally get around to doing it. Yeah. But you could get punished severely. You could. If you don't have it done and you told people you would. So
you only got a month
I've got a plan, to get my ham radio license, or what was the thing's going to happen to me?
You have to do a podcast by yourself.
That's going to be awful.
That's what I keep telling him is things going to be. If he doesn't do it, he has to do a podcast entirely by himself.
Yeah. So ham radio is, basically you can communicate within your country and even transcontinental. So it's like the ultimate of radio communication. But there's all kinds of different things too. There's just your regular walkie-talkie, 2-way radios. There's different forms of those that are, we're hopefully going to be able to talk a little more on those. Yep. Soon. We're getting some to test out that have a better radio frequency. There's also the possibility of using a mesh network. These are little devices that you would put they basically relay your signal away from any cellular network or wireless network.
Mm-hmm.
You're bouncing signal between these little devices, and you're able to communicate with your family or your group. So a mesh network is pretty cool. What's the one that we got test? GoTenna.
GoTenna's, yeah.
GoTenna. Satellite phones would be awesome. They're expensive. The plans are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They are really good communication devices, but on an everyday budget,
That's tough.
they're just not real.
I mean, I think when it comes down to it, the biggest thing to think about is, having ways to make sure that your primary devices stay charged and ready to go. So having backups for your cell phones and charging banks for those, and then also having an emergency radio that has several different ways to power it. An emergency radio that runs on solar, that runs on crank, and then runs on batteries.
Yeah.
Those are super important because if everything else goes down, you could pull that up and still at least receive information on what's going on in the outside world. I guess in
the power, the power area that I was talking about, those like Kobe and I have the Gulu to jump your vehicle.
Yep.
But it's a huge power bank, and you can charge your phones off from it, and you can jump cars, and like those little battery packs that come on sale all the time are totally worth getting
for sure.
Because then you have this backup power that you can take with you and recharge. So
yeah, communications is big, and there's a lot to it, but it's something to start thinking about. You have all this off time, why not start
communicating?
Start communicating. Get your ham license. Another area is prepper fitness. We did do an episode on this completely too, but when you think about all the things you might need to do as a prepper, you can't be a lazy fart and do most of these things. You just can't. I mean, you might have to bug out. You might have to get home from, your work on foot or something. You might have some evasion. You might have to drag your kids down, to a bug out location, resupplying food, water, wood, scavenging, building. You might have to scale walls, lift heavy objects. There's so many different things that you might have to do. You need to be fit. And also being fit means that you're healthier. And being healthy is a huge asset in any SHTF scenario, let alone just everyday life. You want to be healthy, right?
Exactly.
So start thinking about the basics. Cardio is probably the most important thing you can be doing for your body all the time. Running, jogging, playing sports, all of those things, super important. Strength training, we all know what that is. Heavy lifting, lift stuff up, put it back down. Flexibility and balance, yoga and stretching are great for that. It's also great for mental health. It's great for a lot of different things. Getting faster is great too. Sprinting, high intensity workouts, those are good for you. I'm also putting in this self-defense, hand-to-hand combat type stuff, boxing, jiu-jitsu, all those types of things. Anything like that it's gonna be great for your fitness, but it's also gonna be great for self-defense, security, and all those types of things. You just don't know what kind of situations you're gonna get in
or need to get out of.
And another piece of this is sleep. It's so important, and if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to be healthy, you're not going to be fit, and you're not going to be thinking as clearly as you need to in any SHTF scenario. You just need to be able to get it. Right now, that should be pretty damn easy. Everybody's at home all the time. Take a nap. Sleep.
You
good.
don't need to finish that Netflix series.
You don't have to. You got time. Tiger King will be there when you come back. And then the one thing about this I think that makes it easier, again, is to get a buddy. Help keep you motivated and accountable with the fitness piece of it, because otherwise
it's impossible.
You're gonna stop. It's too freaking hard. Yep. So, anyways,
get a buddy.
Yeah, right now it's a great time. Everybody has plenty of time to run or jog or work out.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to start doing that.
Yeah, we didn't really mention or don't really have anything in here about prepper groups. That's another thing you can get into. There's a lot of forums and things like that that are mostly full of people that'll help. There's some buttholes in there too. So beyond the physical fitness and everything, I think it's a good place to put medical.
Yeah.
So your medical needs, number one is if you're taking prescriptions that you can probably become more fit and avoid, that's the best thing to do.
Oh, yes.
Like blood pressure and things like that, a lot of the times you can avoid having to depend on a prescription medication.
Yeah, sure.
But sometimes you can't, if you're type 1 diabetic and, or other needs. So what do you need to do to prepare in that aspect? Most of the time we always talk about just the stuff that's accessible now, which, you can get. You need to have bottles of ibuprofen, Tylenol, just your basic cold medicines, because this happened and this pandemic, and ibuprofen was gone.
The OTC stuff, like the whole aisle was just
crazy.
cleaned out.
People just like swept it all into their carts.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, so like those things are useful, and they can kind of help you through some of these sicknesses. Like at first, the coronavirus, the big thing was like stay at home, take care of yourself. Got a little more serious of like, yeah, you might need to be seen by a medical professional. But a lot of these things, you know, you are going to have to manage at home. So you want those small meds and know how to use them. 90-day supplies of your prescription medications.
Super
Most
important.
providers, as long as your insurance, even if your insurance doesn't, like using GoodRx and those other plans, to get 90-day supplies is extremely important.
Yeah.
I think you really need to have, if you can, 3 months of whatever medications you have to take. Like if you have heart valve replacement, you need a blood thinner, things like that, you should try your hardest to get 90 days supply, because they're going to run out of supplies. Like Benylin and all those albuterol inhalers are running low right now. Some of antibiotics are starting to
Well, one of the things that has been a huge eye-opener, I think, for everybody in this pandemic is the amount of meds that are made in China. It's like 95%.
It's insane.
95%. How freaking stupid are we?
We are dumb
that we're doing that.
I know. We have all kinds of stuff manufactured in all this.
So it becomes super important that you have those things backed up and extras, because holy crap, it just like that, it could all be gone.
Right.
You know?
What other things can you do? Get some basic medical skills, like when to contact a medical professional. Like I gripe about this all the time. I'm just like, people don't have basic knowledge of how to handle a fever and when they need to bring somebody into the medical clinic. And hospitals can get clogged in these scenarios if you don't know how to take care of some basic ailments, you know. A good medical kit. And you're not a surgeon, remember that. Like some preppers, I think, go right to, I need suturing material, I need chest seal, I need trauma kit. Like, do you know how to use any of this? No, you don't. You probably don't need it. If you want to get it down the road and learn how to use it, that's fine. But I think focus on having a good medical kit, and that would be Band-Aids, gauze.
Hernia mesh?
Yeah. Defibrillators. Pacemaker.
Ventilators.
But your basic stuff, you know, Tylenol, your ibuprofen, your stomach meds, you know, getting Pepto and Tums, like just basic stuff that kind of makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Band-Aids are the strongest psychomedical thing that you can give kids.
Yep.
Just put a Band-Aid on it. But having like splinting material, just some basic stuff that you can get and order on Amazon. You don't need a medical license for it. Those little kits can go a long way, and you can throw them in a bag. The other thing is books are always helpful. You can buy, you don't need a medical license, and you never know. You may need to know how to set a broken leg on your own.
It's all up here.
Yeah, right.
It's all up here.
Don't carry books with you.
Books are useless.
I memorized it.
Yeah.
Heart transplant done.
Yeah.
But a book in the medical profession, we fall back to books all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Always looking up. If your doctor isn't, be scared.
Be scared, yeah.
Because there's too much information
We'll
out there.
just wing it.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
A body's a body.
Seen a million of them.
Same deal.
I got one, see?
Some have stuff that pokes out, some don't.
Yeah. Yours pokes out. We do things differently with you.
But those books are also helpful in, you know, worst case scenario, you have to use medicine that you don't recognize the name. If you have a book that you can look it up, okay, this will work for my blood pressure. It's in the same class. Like you're not going to know that stuff. And if you have to, you got a book to look it up. So getting some medical books is a good idea.
Sure.
Fish antibiotics come up a lot. People always ask about those. Are they the same as human antibiotics? It's a big spoiler. They are.
Human.
Yeah. Human. They are the same. They're manufactured under, FDA's approval. They got the same stamp on them. So yes, antibiotics can be used, but you need to know how to use them. And they are dangerous if you don't use them correctly, and their side effects. So don't just
This is not medical advice.
Yes, don't use them because I said they're okay. Still, if you have somebody that has some medical background, ask them.
Yes.
But yes, you can buy and store fish antibiotics. Mental health, things to consider. Over-the-counter stuff's really good for this. St. John's wort, passion flower, valerian.
It just says passion.
I know. don't know where it
Oh, like,
disappeared.
what are we going to talk about? Passion?
Yeah, and passion.
You just have to have passion.
That'll bring up your mental health.
Yes.
Have passion. Exercise here is still like I was saying before. It's huge.
Yeah.
In terms of getting off medications and your mental health, it's a huge part. Communication. That's another thing. If you're quarantined and you lose power and you can't communicate with people, that depression is going to shoot you.
It absolutely will. Or
So
maybe it won't. Maybe you'll feel better.
That's true. You might.
People
if
are
you
the
can
worst.
go off from Facebook,
Yeah.
you probably will be happier.
I hate people. I'm feeling better.
That's true.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's true. So, but yeah, get a basic knowledge on some over-the-counter medicines. Get a kit. I like to use, your little daily medical dosing things. It's got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I've got them labeled different. Ibuprofen, Tylenol. So then you can throw it in a bag and you have all those.
I like it.
But yeah, so there you go. Some
Medical.
basic medical things.
The next one you could look at doing is a survival cache. And we've talked about these
It's
before.
not a new currency.
No, a cache is basically a setup that allows you to hide some supplies in a separate location, and you can bury them, you can hide them in plain sight, you could
Have them on a balloon.
staple them to the back of a truck. You can do whatever you want. But here are some ideas, some things to put in these caches. Guns
Flip a
and
wheelbarrow upside down, put it in there.
nobody will know.
No.
Nope. Hide them in the tall grass in your backyard. Guns and ammunition, handguns are really easy, or an AR that can break down, or like one of those survival rifles. Food and water, obviously, those are going to be good for you. Simple ration bars in water.
Like break down as in like decompose?
Yeah, decompose. A water filter might even be good to put in one of these. A first aid kit, obviously. Fire starter. It's basically any gear that you might need to stay alive in a situation and you are away from most of your other gear, or you're on your way, somewhere else that you know
That's
where
the
it's
other
at. It's great. So there's a lot of different ways people do these. I mean, some people even just get like a 5-gallon bucket with those tight lids. There's your cache. Ammo cans that people use a lot. You can build them out of PVC pipe actually pretty simply and easily. Those watertight Pelican cases are great for this type of stuff. And there's actually some that actually are made for survival caches. You can go buy products for it. And like I said, where do you put them? A safe location in a watertight container. You can bury it anywhere, basically. Just know where it is. A lot of people will, get a GPS marker on it in an app or something, like this is where it is. It's good to put along a bug out route.
How about the breadcrumb Bluetooth marker?
That'd be perfect.
From BattleBox.
Is perfect. Good to be along your bug out route, because if you're bugging out, you might need some additional gear or whatever. Maybe you didn't get to your bag for some reason, so you don't have any of that. It's a great backup. I mean, freak, you can put it in your backyard. What if your house gets compromised and you have to run out really quick? Oh, I know where my cache is.
My extinguisher's in here.
I'll grab it on the way out. Anywhere, just do it. So a cache is a great thing to work on while we're quarantined. It's a great thing to start working on as a new prepper. So
That's a great thing.
it's great.
There's a lot of different prepper skills out there.
There's a ton.
Reading skills.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of books on all these different skills. Like the bushcraft ones are really good.
They are, yeah.
But even reading the fictional books about scenarios can help
For
a
sure.
ton.
Yeah.
Like some of the ideas that I've gotten have come from those of like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So they're definitely useful. Our book can be useful.
For sure, yeah.
So go look at that. But fire starting skills. If you ever tried to start a fire in a cave, it's really hard.
It's not easy. It's not easy to start anywhere.
We've done some videos on different gear, and like we went into a cave to start a fire, and it's like all damp, and the wood is all like
and it's scary.
mossy.
I think it
and-
was mostly just the fear.
Yeah,
We were
that's
just
true.
scared.
I couldn't strike it.
Yeah.
And then fire strikers are cool, and you might feel like a man, but Bic lighters are cheap. And what's the other little brand of lighters? You can get like 50 of them at the dollar
Scrippo
store
or whatever.
So learn how to start a fire efficiently,
Yes.
and learn how to do it with a lighter. And there's also fire starting kits. First aid is a great thing to get books on and
Work
learn.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Podcasts you can download and store on your device.
Yeah.
Like videos. If it wasn't for YouTube, I probably couldn't do half the things I do.
No, I agree.
Every day before I look in somebody's ear, I look up how to do it.
Yeah. What is an
Prostate
ear?
exam, which hole?
Yes. What is a prostate? How do I find my wife's prostate?
What is a human body?
Why am I a doctor?
How do I find my wife's prostate?
Yeah, I mean, especially with this downtime, download tons of podcasts. And YouTube is just a plethora of crazy crap you can learn.
Yeah.
It's a great time to be doing it. And as a prepper and a new prepper, if there's something you're thinking about or you don't know about, it's right at your fingertips. You just got to go find it.
Totally.
It's there.
Yeah, if there's gear you want to get and you want to know how good it is, you can probably find 1,000 videos on
100%.
YouTube. Skills on shelter building, gardening, hunting, tracking, communications, things like that. Like, there's no reason why you can't just buy books, and if you don't get to it that day, you've got it backed up.
Sure.
So work on those skills too. Hands-on is the best way to learn. So.
I completely agree. One of the things, I probably should have put this up further, but a great thing to work on as a new prepper and as an old prepper is an emergency plan. I'm huge on the emergency plan. I'm big on it, especially the family emergency plan if you have a family. This downtime it's a perfect time to take another look. If you've already done this, to update it. If you haven't done it, let's do it. Let's do it. It doesn't take long. If you go to redcross.org or if you just Google Red Cross Family Disaster Plan, it'll come up for you. And basically it's like a 2-page PDF, or maybe it's 3 pages. Might be 3 pages.
That's too many.
Yeah, but you can fill it out. It's really easy. You put your name of everybody in the family, their emails, their phone numbers. You put your pets down, any information about them, and then you basically have a plan of action for when a disaster strikes, and then you it's kind of cool because you do an assessment. You do, it asks you, what are the disasters that are most likely to affect our household? And it's a great conversation to have with your kids, and it's a great conversation to have with your family and your group. What are the escape routes from our home? If we're separated, where do we go? If we can't go there, where do we evacuate to? What is the alternate route to that place? It's just like super basic stuff that when it comes down to it and your kids have this information, they're going to be head and shoulders above every other kid out there just running around screaming and crying, right?
Yeah, exactly. We see that, like, when this happened, people stormed the freaking grocery stores because they had no plan.
They had no plan. Yeah, exactly. And then it goes down to some very specific things for to give responsibilities to. Who's going to grab the disaster kit? Disaster kit can be a bug out bag or whatever it is. Who's going to monitor the NOAA radio for whatever it might be. Who's going to get the medical information, the financial information? Who's going to take care of the pets? So everybody at that point knows where to go and what they're doing. And then basically you can print this off, you can laminate it, whatever you got to do, and put it in your kids' backpacks. And then you could have one, in the kitchen somewhere, and then you're ready to go. Yeah. It's a really great thing. So just go to redcross.org and grab that. Another thing that goes along with this, Red Cross actually has a fantastic app as well. It's called the Emergency Alerts app, and it's probably my favorite one for this. And you can get alerted for all types of disasters or emergencies and things like that. And
those are good ones.
Yeah, so go ahead and grab that, the Emergency Alerts app. So yeah. Emergency plan, great thing to work on.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. I think the fact of how much stress it takes away is the biggest thing about it. It's like, and then when people have assigned tasks in these scenarios, like they're stressed, they're like, I got to focus on this.
Yeah, I got to do it.
Worrying about crap.
Yeah, if your kid knows, I got to go get the dog, I have to do this.
They're not worried about what's my neighbor doing or where's dad?
They just go and do it. Yeah, it's great.
And I look at I can't imagine being in New York and
jeez,
I'm in the heart of this big mess. I want to get out, and you can't.
You can't.
They won't let you.
It's crazy.
So you got to have these backup plans, and so it's a great thing.
Great.
So organizing, building, and updating your kits. So
this is fun.
Yeah, this is something that goes on with me all the time. I'm constantly looking at my kits and trying to decide: do I really need this in there? Do I need to update this? My bug out bag's probably the one that goes through the most.
Changes.
Yeah, all the time. Or I take it out and I forget to put it back in there. And so the bug out bag, and you probably, if you've looked into any kind of prepper website or anything, bug out bag is like one of the biggest things. It's your bag that you're going to take with you that has all these supplies for 72 hours plus. These are pretty hefty bags, so the number one thing
not
is
hefty bags.
They're not trash bags. You're
You're
not carrying a trash bag. But these are pretty. You want this to be a durable bag that's able to carry weight, be comfortable, not jack your back up. And also, the ones that are really nice are that have individual pockets and things like that, so you can kind of organize your stuff.
Yep.
Some of the basics, there's tons of stuff. We've had 2 podcasts on the bug out bag because there's just so much that goes into these, but
there will be more probably.
Yeah. Some of the basics that you put in your bug out bag, food and water. Number 1 is ways to have water both in the bag and also able to, drink from the stream or whatever.
Yeah.
Filter it. So you want some water filters. Sawyer's like one of our favorites because it's so small and it filters 100,000 gallons, which is insane. And then a change of clothing, depending on where you're going, if it's in the middle of the winter or the summer, you want to have a change of clothes if you get wet, shoes and things like that are able to store nicely in your bag. Like a weapon, not only to defend yourself, but also I like to have like a fixed blade knife that's useful. Like if you go in the wilderness and you're going to, chop some wood and things like that, this knife duels as a tool and it's also a good defense. Handgun is a good thing to have that you could store. And that goes back into, if you're carrying a 45, it's a great weapon, but it's heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
Heavy ammo. So you want to think into that. Also lighting. You might be traveling in the dark. You want to have a headlamp or a good flashlight that, that uses energy really well, so you're not burning through batteries.
Yeah.
Communication device on the fly, a 2-way or even, this is where satellite and there's even portable ham radios.
Yeah, for sure.
So, cordage, if you have to build shelter, tie somebody up, drag your kid, fix your bag, things like that. Navigation, depending on where you're going, you want to have a good map, especially if you're traveling through or to a city, back routes, different roads and things like that. There could be roadblocks. Shelter items, a tent, a tarp. Those are good for protecting you from the elements. Also, a lot more comfortable to sleep, or you can have a delightful little picnic.
Yep.
This is where you'd also put like a quick access of medications, ones that you are going to take with you. You can't take all your house supplies. You got to bug out. You want to have a few of those items like allergy medicines, maybe your prescription medicines, things for your stomach if you get diarrhea or constipation, just like things to make life a lot more comfortable.
For sure.
And then your personal info, like backed up either on a device or it's probably good to have also some paper cache and some paper personal info items that you can show and get to right away. Because you never know. EMP, we talk about that, how it could knock out all electronic devices. So you want to have a hard copy. I don't know. Is there anything, fire starting equipment?
Yeah. First aid kit, obviously.
First aid kit, obviously, is going to be in there too. So those are real basic. There's tons of lists online. You can go and print out a bug out bag basics and it'll have checklists.
Yep.
Everybody has theirs customized the way they want. I have 2, I have smaller ones for my kids that, are still not complete. So I'm constantly changing things in this regard, but you do want to have one ready to go at all times.
I completely agree. The next kit to me, which is probably the most important kit, if you ask me, that's what I'm going to say.
No, I agree with you.
EDC kit. So what is EDC? If you don't know, it stands for Everyday Carry. This is basically a small kit or items that you keep on your person or close to you all the time, every single day. It could be in your pockets. It could be in a backpack that you carry in your pockets. It could be in a small bag in your vehicle, which is what I do. Well, I kind of have a split kit. I have some on me and I have some in my vehicle. So there's a lot of different things that people use for EDC, but it needs to be things that you use very often that could also kind of be useful in a all of a sudden you're in a survival situation or you're in a bad situation or you're in a situation where you need something. So some popular items, obviously a folding knife. We don't go pretty much anywhere without a knife. Your keys, you have your keys with you, dummy. A wallet, you got to have your wallet. A phone, and then a charger, a backup charger or something. So spare cash is great to have on you. A watch. A flashlight, you get into a situation where you need light and it's dark, you're going to love that you have it. A multi-tool. A lot of people like to carry a firearm. If you can, that's great. Tactical pen and writing pad are always nice to have around as well. Fire starter, first aid kit. There's a whole bunch of different things you can carry with you. And like you said, you can customize it to your situation. You can customize it. You can have a couple of different kits. You can have one that you keep in your vehicle, like I do, one that you keep on your person, one that you keep in your, at work. There's a lot of different things you can do, but it's a really important kit because you're going to be using it more often than any of your other kits.
Right.
So look at, if you haven't done an EDC kit yet, hey, it's time to do it.
I think some of the most creative gear is like EDC stuff because it's you got your combined, weapon with a light in it, and you got survival belts like the cash belt from Wazoo.
Yeah.
It's like a Velcro belt that folds on itself, and you can tuck all kinds of crap in it. I think some of the most creative gear for preppers probably is in the EDC category
for sure. Yeah.
Your get home bag is a separate bag from all these. It's kind of a hybrid of your EDC and I don't know. I think
kind of a bug out.
It's kind of a
bag.
Bug out. I guess it's more of a hybrid between your bug out and your vehicle bag. So
yeah, it kind of is. Yeah.
This is like a bag that you may leave at work, or it's a little bigger bag you leave in your car, somewhere where you can quickly access when you're away from home. That's going to allow you to safely get back home. But you never know if you have to go by foot because the exits from town are completely clogged and you have to walk home. You want to have some things that are going to make that a lot better for you. Food and water, obviously, there's a lot of different options there. Clothing, you may need a change of clothes. One is we talk a lot about in your get home bag is like going gray man. Some basic like non-flashy, non-tactical stuff that just makes you look plain makes you look plain and ordinary and ugly.
Yeah.
So that you can sneak through a riot.
Jinkos and hook hands.
Yeah. So depending a lot where you work and what you might have to go through to get back to your family and your home would go into this bag. Food, clothes, some tools, some weapons. This is maybe where you would look at some items for like a hostage scenario or something where you need to get out of what is the one that we were going to do a podcast on? We haven't yet.
Oh, escape and evasion.
Escape and evasion. Yeah. So there's some cool stuff there, and in these kits, a lot of people put like the what is it called? The little thing that you can access water on buildings.
Oh yeah, silcock.
Spitcock.
I gotta get me one of those. You got a spitcock in your bag?
I was like, it's an S. I'm gonna say spitcock. Oh, that's porn.
Well, you can't beat that one. That's it for the day.
That's in there. That is in there. That's what happens when you're trying to rush through your notes. You remember the first word and the end word, and it goes together like that. Spitcock.
That was beautiful.
That's disgusting.
Beautiful.
A map of the town.
Sure, yeah.
Different streets and ways to get around. You may need to stay overnight somewhere. So like a fire starting kit and some basic, like they got little teeny foldable, what's the bivvy's a good thing.
Yeah, bivvy sack.
So yeah, your get home bag's basically a quick survival kit that's going to get you to
back
your home safely.
Yeah.
So kind of a crossover between the big bug out bag and your vehicle bag.
That is
a lot of stuff.
That is a ton of stuff.
Hopefully that gives you a sense of what us preppers do.
Yeah, and again, that's just a sense of it. That's not all of it.
But as for you preppers, those are some items that I guarantee you haven't worked on.
You haven't worked on all of them, yeah.
Because I know I haven't.
Yeah, it's time. It's a perfect time in this downtime to work on one of those projects. Pick one, do it. Pick the next one, do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Before we leave, Cam, did you know that today's podcast is brought to you by TacPack?
I did.
100% is. The only monthly tactical subscription box with useful professional grade stuff inside. Use code Casual Preppers and get a free separate bag sent of EDC gear along with your first month's TAC Pack. Head to TacPack.com, use our code Casual Preppers. You're going to get another free bag of EDC gear. We talked about EDC, so that's a thing. Awesome.
Was there spitcock in those?
The spitcock. All I could think of is spitcock.
That's why I was laughing. I was like, where did that come out of my mouth? No quick and medical. There's too much stuff to go.
There's too much stuff today, but I want everybody to send a message to Cam about spitcocking. I don't know. I just want to see. I want to see some memes.
That was a quick mind cross that just came out dirty.
Yeah, it's awesome. I like it.
It's a
Anyways,
Freudian slip.
it is. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you to all the new subscribers that we have.
Yeah.
Welcome you
Hopefully
with
this
open
helps.
arms.
Don't get overwhelmed.
No. Start
All
slow.
this stuff, just take it
Again.
each hour by the time. I want you to get it every hour, do a new thing.
Spit cocking all day long.
First thing is go and Google spitcock. See if you can find it.
Please don't do it. What was I going to say? I had something I was going to say.
Practice reading. Get some reading books. And reading helps your vocabulary. I have learned this.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks. Stay survived.